When the temperatures get close to 40 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the logical thing to do is to get into a vehicle with air conditioning and drive many hours away to a warm lake that you can swim in. Me, Allison, Dante, and Allison's sister Sharon were on a mission to find a secluded spot in this beautiful land where we could jump into the water and go swimming. Thankfully, British Columbia has no shortage of mind-blowing scenery and an endless supply of lakes for our pleasure. That is, if one is willing to drive far enough from the major cities. Rivers such as this flow from the mountain tops and mammoth glaciers, feeding vast lakes in the foothills of what often feels to me like heaven. Welcome to another episode with the Cascadia Overland crew. We're headed on an overlanding trip to what's called the Hurley Loop here in British Columbia, Canada. We will be passing through the ghost town of Bralorne, then a town called Goldbridge, around Carpenter Lake, through an amazing tunnel, and then back down on the Highline Road. On this episode, there's tons of driving, lots of camping, and as always, some incredible scenery.
So we were headed to one of our favorite camp spots, but unfortunately the road was closed, which really put a damper on everything because all of our backup spots were also along that road. So we had to detour and take a path that we had never taken before. So we did that instead.
Yeah, so now we're headed to the Hurley, which is a quite long Forest Service road. There's a couple, I believe there's a west and an east version, and we're driving along those now. And there's supposed to be some nice spots, but a lot of it's been washed out since the last couple of years because of landslides and avalanches.
It's a bit bumpy. I mean, it's dirt road. There's no like real obstacles, but here we go. There's a couple bumps. So we're just heading up, a lot of uphill. So
yeah,
hopefully it's colder up there.
I hope so.
Well, good morning, folks. We're here at camp. We had a very, very long drive yesterday. We were actually only supposed to drive about 4 hours. We ended up driving
6, 7.
more than that, quite a bit more than that. But we found a cool spot by a nice river, and we're camped here. But I think we're gonna pack up soon and head back out and check out a ghost town that's super close to us, I think. Well, maybe not super close. A little bit of a drive, but we'll get there and we'll show you this really cool ghost town. Dante is having the time of his life, eating mosquitoes. And there's enough of those to go around. Good morning, Sharon.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Are you warm?
You got your morning drink there?
You got your morning drink?
Chug, chug, chug. No.
For context, people, that's a beer.
Then she's moving from her very warm cooler to our
Tiny cooler.
slightly colder cooler.
We need a fridge, people. Good morning.
Good morning.
You warm?
Yeah, I switched into my swimsuit right off the bat. I'm doused in sunscreen. I'm drinking some iced coffee, and I am deciding about moving my chair into full sun to really get that sunburn look going. And then probably go and jump in that river pretty quickly here.
Though this river isn't exactly swimmable, it does provide some relief to be able to dunk our feet in, splash some ice cold water on our faces, and be able to boil some water for dishes. It's always nice to have some water around, and the river sounds are especially good for a good night's sleep.
Okay, so this is our camping setup for this trip. As you can see, there's the rooftop tent on top of a 4th gen 4Runner, as always. There's also an awning that we purchased. It's a very cheap awning from Princess Auto. But you know what? We figured we could buy 5 of these, or we could buy 1 expensive ARB awning. And it functions very similarly with cheaper materials. And I don't think we're gonna use it that much throughout the year. So I figured I could buy this, try it out, see if we like it and use it, and then go from there. And you know what? If it breaks, I can buy 5 more for a price that's very, very, very cheap. So that's our setup. We have our kitchen set up usually under an awning or of some sort, some kind of cover. So if it does rain overnight or there's any snow or hail, we're good with that. And then we do have a fire pit over there, which was here when we got here, but it was very, very dirty. So I cleaned up the fire pit a lot. There was metal pieces in there, so I picked those up. On the left here is the river. It's very green. It's an alpine lake. So alpine river. Very, very glacier-fed water. Very, very cold. Nice on hot summer days. Speaking of the fire pit, here is the chopping block, which was here when we got here. I've got a splitting axe as well as a hatchet. And then that's just some firewood that we chopped down yesterday because I did bring the chainsaw as well. And there's quite a bit of standing dead trees here, which works really well for the firewood. Lastly, here we have Sharon's Honda CRV, which is, by the way, going for sale. So if anybody wants to buy it, hit me up. It is stock, but I believe it's a fully 4x4 capable vehicle. It's not an all-wheel drive. So that works quite well, I believe, going over the bumps and stuff that we went through. As I said, it is a stock vehicle, but it's more capable than you would think. The big issue with it is clearance, because as you can see, the muffler's right there, and the cat converter's also right there. So those kind of things would hit. But yeah, see how it says real-time 4-wheel drive? I didn't even know that was a thing on these old CRVs. So that's our camping setup. That's Sharon's camping setup. Our camping setup. Sharon's camping setup. We call it minimalistic. But Sharon's actually selling everything in her life and going to travel the world. Travel the world. Travel the world. Traveling the world with Sharon. Traveling the world with Sharon. Adventure pals. Okay, look at that Everest, and you see that thing on it? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a horsefly. If you ever see a horsefly, pack up your tent, pack up your life, and move. Because horseflies are like one of the most brutal frickin' things in the world. Absolutely relentless pieces of crap. They will bite you, take a chunk of your meat, and then leave. Assholes.
You may have seen a
Housefly.
dragonfly. You may have seen a housefly, but I bet you've never seen an elephant
donkey fly. It's a donkey fly.
An elephant fly.
She says donkey, she says
Where are you
elephant.
getting yours from?
Can you tell they're
Dumbo.
sisters, by the way?
No.
This is
Where are
Sharon,
you getting
Allison's
yours
sister.
From Shrek. When Donkey's talking and they don't believe he talks. And he's like, I bet you've seen a horsefly. I bet you've seen a housefly. But I bet you ain't never seen a donkey fly.
This is gnocchi.
Gnocchi. It's
It's an
gnocchi.
Italian word.
It's gnocchi.
That is the first time I've ever heard you say that.
Okay, you know how
now
every
that we're on camera, you're like, it's gnocchi?
Every-
Why would you ever pronounce it gnocchi? What a weirdo. He's the weirdo, not me. Okay? Okay? Okay.
eggs.
This one broke.
You broke an egg?
Yeah.
Allison.
It fell apart.
Unacceptable. 1-star review. So we're having gnocchi and eggs for breakfast. Oh yeah. So many flies, guys. So many flies. It's driving me. Have you watched that Netflix show? Man vs. Bee with Mr. Bean. I am Mr. Bean. Well, he's not Mr. Bean in that. He's Rowan Atkinson. But these flies are turning me into
that character. It's freaking crazy. Naturally, I decided it was time to pull out a gun and shoot the damn flies. So you never point the firearm towards anybody, okay? This is safe, this is fire. Okay, it doesn't have a scope on it, so these are the two dots that you want to like square up on. So you never put the finger in the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. This butt goes in your shoulder. It's got no kickback, it's very light. This hand goes here. Okay, so you hold it like this. This is to load and reload, it's loaded right now. And then you pull the trigger, and it goes whoop! Okay, firing! Okay, your hand over there, yep. And then lean forward. Okay, no, finger out.
Fingers out.
Fingers out, okay. Go again. It is hot, and Allison is feeling it.
I really am. I'm feeling it. I'm so over this. I just need all this stuff to go away. You took the awning down, and I feel like that was mistake number one. But I mean, I understand why. It's just, I need to get in the AC. I need to get the car on. All this stuff, we could just leave it here for all I care at this moment.
So for context, it is 39 degrees Celsius. I believe for our American friends, that's probably around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It is very warm, and there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, we have the awning, which really helps, but while packing up, you just have to stand in the heat and pack up, right? Like, it is what it is. Lonely, I'm so lonely, I have nobody. Sharon's boyfriend, Cash, didn't want to come today, but that's okay. Lonely, I'm so lonely. Okay, folks, we are leaving this campsite. It is very, very warm. Very, very warm. 39 degrees Celsius. We're dying. But we're gonna go and try to find somewhere, maybe on a lake. But first, we're gonna go check out a ghost town. Woo, spooky! Okay, we're on our way to see a ghost town. Are you excited?
I am. This should be pretty cool.
Yeah. Not even that far from home. There's quite a few ghost towns. Oh, deer.
Sharon.
Sharon.
Deer on the road. Yeah, there is a deer on the right-hand side. Just watch out.
That was a buck. It was a big buck. Anywho, we're going to a ghost town, which is super exciting.
I hope we see ghosts. That's cute.
Welcome to Bralorne, population 9. Bralorne is a historic gold mining community in British Columbia, Canada, in the Bridge River district. The population of Bralorne is actually around 60, unlike the sign that we just saw, because the town has seen some growth in recent years. The Bralorne Pioneer Mine was opened in 1923 and produced more than 4 million ounces before it was closed in 1971. That doesn't look very abandoned. That looks fairly new, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, a lot of this place is abandoned, but we've also seen signs of a little bit of life here and there. Quite strange. Some of these buildings are so old. This is a really beautiful town once upon a time. Beautiful view of the mountains, river, and everything.
There's 9 people that live in this town. 9.
9!
And they have a baseball diamond. So they clearly have enough for like their one team.
How many people play on a baseball team?
9.
They just play amongst themselves?
I guess they call people in from the next town over. They call Goldbridge and be like, hey, ready for a baseball game next weekend?
Bralorne turned out to be a great little spot to check out on our overlanding journey today, but we didn't have time to check out the abandoned mines. For that, we'll have to come back someday. In the meantime, we headed upwards and onwards in search for a camping spot by a lake that we could dunk our feet in, perhaps go swimming, and relax for a while. Welcome to our home. Recreate responsibly.
I think they are trying to say recreate, but I don't think recreate is a word. Recreation is a word.
Well, Allison, you know what this means, right? We have to recreate responsibly. Well, the temperature's dropped 4 degrees, but that doesn't mean it's still not hot.
Holy shit, that's a view.
Right? So gorgeous. Damn.
Thanks.
All right, so we're on this road and we're headed towards Lillooet along this really, really massive lake. That
How
view.
lush and green it is.
Damn. That's gorgeous. Watch out for the bear!
There's a bear on the left. Did you see it?
There was a mama bear and a baby bear.
Did you see the mama and baby?
I mean, there's... Did you see it? Do you see it?
Do you see it then?
Yeah, I may have turned around and gone back.
Bears are a fairly common sight in British Columbia, almost everywhere you go. But we didn't hang around to find out if they'd come back onto the road again. We had a drive to do, so we continued onwards along the lake, looking for a secluded spot to camp at and to swim. Though the journey was long, the views were worth every second of it, and we were getting pretty excited to finally find camp. Such is the nature of overlanding. Sometimes you find the perfect spot right away. Sometimes it takes a lot of trial and error. We stopped at many spots, but none of them were perfect. But now, we had finally found ourselves in the perfect spot to set up. It was calling out to every drop of sweat, begging for us to jump in for a swim.
Okay, we're gonna try and level out on these rocks and these max tracks. A little more. 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 Okay, stop. No, you just slid right off it all.
We've tried our best to level our tent for tonight, but it's still very slanted. And we haven't been able to find a way to really do it. Allison actually just suggested deflating that rear tire a little bit. Not too much, I think, but maybe a little bit will help. Yeah, let's see what happens if we are able to level it a little bit more. It's made zero difference.
Well, who's the genius now then?
Yeah, just when the sun comes out, you decide to set up your tent, you should be in the water.
I know, but I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna get back.
After a few minutes of struggling, we all took my advice and put the unpacking and setting up on hold, and decided that swimming was going to be much more enjoyable for us. What's up?
I'm gonna set up my tent.
You gonna set up your tent?
Yeah,
Did you find a good spot?
I guess we'll find out.
Good job. It's up.
It's up.
Thanks to lots of experience and, of course, trial and error, we've become pretty good at setting up camp quickly. That involves putting up the Tule Tepui rooftop tent, setting up a table for the stove and the propane, and sometimes pulling out the awning. Allison and I usually divide up the duties, so when I set up the tent, Allison cooks for us, and this makes setup a lot simpler. So my wife usually doesn't cook, but when we're camping in a place like this, I don't know, I feel like she's happier and cooks, and it's very nice for me because I get fed.
You know what the secret is?
Yeah.
Is that I've actually meal planned this. It's not so
That
much
does
that
help.
I hate cooking. I just know what I'm cooking.
Oh, look at that. It is very windy. Sorry about the wind. So Canadian to apologize for the wind, eh? Oh, and then to say eh after. Let's see what you got.
Hair in my face.
Food time. Freedom! In British Columbia, we have a lot of bald eagles. A lot. That right there, my friends, is the definition of British Columbia in all its glory. Good morning.
Oh.
Does it suck to wake up with a view like that?
No, it does not.
Waking up to this view, it's not horrible. Not horrible at all. Good morning.
Really?
What is that?
What's what?
What are you wearing?
It's my shark onesie.
I think Dante's ready to go. It's hot. How's packing?
I hate packing.
Almost ready though. Almost done. Almost fully packed. I just went for a swim, but now Sharon's swimming. Even though it was a long trip ahead of us, we took our sweet time getting up that morning. Having breakfast and going for a swim to cool off was super nice. It was going to be another scorcher of a day, so sitting in air conditioning was very nice, even if the roads were going to get bumpy later. Our Fortune 4Runner is ready for most challenges, but Sharon's Honda CRV has low clearance and a tiny engine, so going up and down mountains can be a bit sketchy and not ideal. I was especially worried for her transmission if it started to heat up. For now though, we were on a fairly straight road, still along the same lake, enjoying the amazing views. Well, I have to say, this is a really gorgeous drive along this beautiful lake. It's a very, very long lake, so you drive across it or alongside it for quite some time before coming out the other end. We've been to the other end of this lake before, but we hadn't been to this side of the lake. So it is really cool seeing what's on this side. And the views are just incredible. Now we do have a choice to make. We can either go to Lillooet, fill up on gas and get some ice cold water because we're out of cold water. We have water, it's just very warm sitting in the sun. And you know, just getting some cold water and then continuing home. Or we can take a really beautiful drive that we've done previously through the mountains, but we haven't gone north to south. We've gone south to north. And it's really gorgeous. So we have a decision to make what we want to do. And I feel like Dante is done with driving. Either way, it's gonna be 6-7 hour drive home. Maybe a little bit more depending on if we stop to admire the views. But yeah, we're just gonna keep driving and enjoy this amazing, amazing trip. Yeah, there's tons of debris, rocks on the road here. I mean, here on the side, but we've seen tons on like physically on the road because from these cliffs on the left, there's lots of landslide, lots of rocks that fall off. So gotta be a little careful. And I mean, there are sometimes there's signs saying, you know, avalanche area or landslide area. What an incredible drive though, isn't it? This lake is massive, and it's part of a network of a couple of lakes that are just gorgeous. Water's super green, and the road's twisty and turny. Just really, really nice drive.
That's a big bald eagle.
That's a huge bald eagle. Look at that. Carpenter Lake is 50 kilometers or 31 miles long. At the other end of it, there's an awesome cave tunnel that you can drive through to get to the other side. After the tunnel, the road goes up the mountain quite a ways. It's steep, rocky, and twisty, and tons of fun to drive on. The switchbacks are tight, the gravel is slippery, and it feels a bit like a roller coaster ride, to be honest. It also helps that our V8 4Runner is excellent at climbing mountains, even when the air gets thin. It also helps that the views from up the mountains are absolutely awesome, so this drive in itself is worth the visit. The CRV was also doing just fine, but it's kind of hard to tell how high the transmission temperatures were getting on it. What goes up must come down, and after we'd reached the summit, it was time to drive down the mountain. So when they talk about dangerous drives, this is what we're talking about. Very, very steep, very sharp turns, absolute just cliff on the left, 3,680 feet of elevation, I think. And I mean, absolutely incredible, but dangerous drive. So low gear and sometimes foot on the brakes, but trying to not burn the brakes as we go down as well. This is definitely a dangerous road. Like, I would not qualify this as an easy, fun, I mean, it's fun, but like, you know, an easy stroll through the wilderness. Like, this is not what it is. These turns are like brutal. Sorry?
I see the resistance in first gear.
Yeah, good. Leave it in first gear then. Going down these hills, putting it into a low gear is very good for your brakes. It's engine braking essentially, right? Like that's what it's doing. Oh, these twists and turns are so sharp. 3,000 something feet.
3,680, yeah.
3,680 feet of elevation, going straight down, like twist, turn, straight down the mountain. Check out this bridge. Oh, hell yeah. Woo! Oh, yes. Dude, that's amazing. Oh, that feels amazing. It's ice cold water. Oh boy. After making a quick pit stop, we were back on the road once more. We still had many hours of driving ahead of us on our overlanding journey to get back on the paved roads and eventually to the highway southbound. Without a doubt, this drive is one of the most beautiful drives, but also one of the most treacherous ones. Though people drive these roads every day and even live in the communities along it, 1 second of not paying attention and swerving can result in a drop down the cliff and nothing to stop your vehicle. Maybe that's what makes it so much fun. You can't just put your body and mind on autopilot. Off-roading requires you to pay attention, making calculated decisions, and actually driving the vehicle instead of the vehicle driving you. Oh man, look at this view! This immense lake makes for some sweet views all along this road, and makes the treacherous drive well worth it. We've driven this road from south to north before, but this just goes to show that every time you go out, the views can be different every time. This entire overlanding trip was a much needed getaway and a reminder that secluded nature is only a few hours drive away. We just need to have the desire to get out and explore. We hope this video inspires you to get out and explore as well. But for now, this is it from the Cascadia Overland crew. We're going on a trip to see the 7 highest roads in Canada within 7 days. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We'll catch you on the next episode. Goodbye.